Our friend and the Honorable Chairperson of the Education Committee in Parliament, Honorable Sabina Chege, our leaders who are here from the unions, and because of the constraints we have of time, I think we would have asked them to say something, but may I request you to stand up, Chairperson and Secretary General of KNUT, to wave. I don't know whether Kupet is here already, but anyway, my colleagues and our friends from the Teacher Service Commission and all agencies that work with us at the ministry, Dr. Joan from KICD, and all of you good people who are here this morning. We're here for a simple and straightforward exercise of releasing the KCSE results of 2015. Before we do so, I would like to make a few remarks. First, I would like, on my own behalf and on behalf of my colleagues at the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, to thank the Kenya National Examinations Council, Professor Kabiru Kinyanjui and your team, Dr. Kivilu and the management of NEC. I would like you to know that we appreciate the work you do. I know how hard you have worked to get us here, and I know the rigorous and very demanding work that goes into preparing these exams. I know we've had challenges, and I'm going to speak about them shortly, and we are determined to resolve these challenges. But I want to thank you and the entire staff of the Kenya National Examinations Council for the work that you continue to do. Secondly, I want to specifically thank our critical stakeholders, the head teachers of all our secondary schools, the principals. The KCSE 2015 exam was conducted in fairly challenging circumstances. And quite frankly, I must thank all the principals for the solid management, leadership, perseverance they showed and provided throughout that examination period. Had they not done their work well, we probably would not have had a successful examination period such as we did. I know that there are challenges sometimes in some of the things you are doing, but we are committed and we continue to work together to ensure that we mediate those challenges together. I thank the parents and I thank the Lord for our children who have completed their secondary school cycle, whose exam results we released this morning. We are very privileged, and when I show you the statistics shortly, you will discover that we are blessed as a country, and we need to be grateful indeed that we have such a high completion rate of secondary education in our country, which probably is one of the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, before I release the results, I want to make about 5 critical points that I think are important for us to bear in mind as we release the results this morning. One, to my friends and colleagues from the media, this year we have decided to actually give you much more detailed information on the examinations. So shortly after the release, we are going to give you probably one of the most detailed statistical reports on the exams, so that you can read them, study them, understand them, and then later in the afternoon we will have a meet the press opportunity at which we will clarify any issues that you may raise arising from the figures that we are going to give you. We are doing this in the interest of accountability and in the interest of transparency, so that you are able to interrogate the work that we do effectively, and we are able to also be responsive to you and give you information as you require, as always. So, a few issues I want to raise, ladies and gentlemen, are as follows. I have said this around the country, and I want to say it now that we are all here. The government has taken up the responsibility of paying examination fees for all our candidates in Standard 8 and in Form 4. This year alone, we have set aside 3.4 billion to cater for the examination fees of all our children in Standard 8 and in Form 4. I want to urge our colleagues, the principals in the schools, please do not ask any child to pay examination fees. And this is to ensure that every child who has come to Standard 8, every child who has come to Form 4 will be able to sit for their exams uninhibited. I'm asking parents to pay special attention to this and liaise with our county directors of education in case there is an incident which requires us to engage and clarify that no child should be asked to pay examination fees. Secondly, because we recognize the growth of the sector, the government has put out a lot of resources to develop institutions where the candidates whose results we release today could find an opportunity to further their studies. And I have seen some statistics bandied around by the media this morning, all of which are fiction, and I will demonstrate to you shortly, that we are going to have a technical training institution in each of the 290 constituencies in the country. Already, we have completed doing 60, work on 70 is going on. The balance are going to be done to be completed by the end of the next financial year. If each one of these technical training institutions has a capacity of about 1,000 students, you are talking about 290,000 places that would be available for those who complete Form 4 to further their studies. And even long before we complete all of them, we recently upgraded 8 polytechnics to national polytechnic status, which means they can actually offer degree programs, they can offer advanced courses, and so on. So we have put out a huge amount of resources to reform our TVET sector. In fact, this year alone, the last 2 years, last year and this year, we are putting up close to 16 billion shillings to develop these technical institutions. And this is because of this very basic realization that for us to achieve Vision 2030, as we have outlined it, we have to train in the subjects, in the areas that are relevant and important in supporting our economy and our country to grow. Those are the areas that we broadly refer to as STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Because we have to turn around the situation as it is right now. Because today, 78% of the students who are enrolled in our universities are studying in the arts and humanities. Only 22% are studying STEM-related courses. And we want to turn this around. That is why we are making massive investment in technical training facilities. And we are sure that by the end of next year, we will have achieved our objective of providing sufficient places for our children who are interested in pursuing other talent paths, who are interested in pursuing vocational and technical education to go in. I need to clarify this, however, that even as we release the results today, we should all depart from the attitude that these technical and vocational institutions we are building are for those who do not make the cut. Even students who score a score of an A can enroll in any one of these national polytechnics, in any one of these technical training institutions, and pursue a career that addresses some of the areas in which we have shortages in our economy. We have a shortage in having sufficient numbers of artisans. That's why we are entering into partnerships with institutions such as the National Construction Authority, so that we train for the specific areas that are going to support the growth of the construction sector, as it were. So parents, guardians, our children, it's very important that we are informed effectively on these issues, and that as we move forward, we pursue studies in all these available places. I am sad that in some of our institutions, even where we have completed these technical training institutions, the enrollment is far below the capacity of those institutions. Last week, I was interacting with leaders. I was telling them about one of the technical institutions that we have built in the country, part of it supported by development partners, including the African Development Bank, with a capacity of 1,300 students. And only 265 students are enrolled in that institution. The equipment is already installed. Capacity is available. Our kids can go in and learn. But there's a challenge that out of 1,300 places, we only have 265. So you can see we need to do some more work to inform, to educate, to encourage our children that now the opportunities for growth and to pursue other courses has been opened up, and it's important that they take up these opportunities. Now, turning to the issues of the performance and the exams that we are releasing today, there are several issues that we also need to address, some of which I have looked at recently, and I will share some details about this later on. We have made good progress in gender composition, but we need to do more. I know that we have achieved somewhat some parity because of the 522,870 candidates who sat for KCSE in 2015, 53% were male and 46.59% were female. This is fine, but we could do better and enhance this. I know that about 8 counties in the country had more female students than male candidates, and these include Taita Taveta, Nyandarua, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Kiambu, Meru, and Tharaka Nithi. But there are also other counties where we have registered, of course, fewer girls than boys, and this is something that we need to work on. I need to address a very key statistic in this regard. 532,128 students joined Form 1 in 2012. Out of these, 522,870 sat for their KCSE exam, which means the completion rate was over 98%, because we only lost 1.74%, which is still significant, and we should be concerned because we don't want to lose even one child. But I would like my colleagues to understand that it's important for you to get your data right, because if you look at that completion rate, then you conclude that some of the things we are reading in the press this morning are just fiction. We have one of the highest completion rates at secondary school level on the continent, but we could do even better and improve it even better as we move forward. But there has been a challenge, and this is something I need to very candidly address. What bedevils our education sector in the country is that we need to have a framework within which we have credible, accurate, reliable, and current data. Sometimes we don't, and that's why the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology is now working with the Education Information Management System, EMIS program, supported by a number of development partners, so that we can develop a very centralized system of keeping data, so that anytime we want to inform the public, anytime members of the public need to know information, they get accurate and reliable information, and we do not unduly alarm our people. The second last issue I would like to raise before I go to the examination results proper is that we have got to address certain issues. When I tell you about the exams, the results this year, there are 2 particular issues I want to address. Only a third of the students who wrote their exam last year, only a third have attained university entry qualifications. That is about 31.52%. Whereas this is an improvement on 2014's 30.78%, we could still do better. And of course, this data begs several questions, and we need to answer these questions collectively. One, has it got to do with our curriculum? Because if you look at that performance, if you put in kids in Form 1 and only 1/3 of those attain university qualifications, that is a minimum of a C+, there are issues that we then need to address. It could be as I said, the curriculum. Is the curriculum the issue?